at Tufts University, and prior to her current appointment, she was Senior Advisor to the Assistant Secretary of State for European and Eurasian Affairs at the US Department of State. And prior to that, from 2004 through 2007, she worked at the National Security Council at the White House, covering a broad portfolio that included Muslim engagement and the broader Middle East, North Africa initiative. It's my pleasure to invite Ms. Pandit to share her thoughts this evening. Ms. Pandit, please.
Well, good evening to everybody, and Assalamu alaikum, and Eid Mubarak. Madam Ambassador, thank you very much for hosting this beautiful event. I was really struck when I walked in today, the amount of detail, care, and warmth that has gone into making sure all of us feel welcome. For somebody who has spent Eid this weekend without family, I feel like I'm with family now, and I want to thank you very much for that. I wanted to spend a few minutes with you and just give you a little bit of a sketch of why we have a special representative to Muslim communities and why Secretary Clinton has appointed me in this position. But before I do that, since we are gathered with friends who are from the subcontinent in one way or another, for those of you who don't know, I was born in Srinagar, and I came to the United States as a little girl, but one of the things that was very present to me growing up was the importance we played as a family in coming back to India every year. And that was something my mother thought was very important for me growing up, so that I learned not only about my relatives and my cousins and my aunts and uncles and my grandfather, but because India represents, as the ambassador said, a really magnificent sphere of culture and spirituality and traditions that combine, in my view, yes, I'm biased, the best of the world before it. The way in which Indians have interacted with each other, whether you are in the north or the south or the east or the west or the middle of the country, there is a very special quality about India that we all know. I see all the nods out there. But for me, as I think about my role as special representative, India represents something very important. Because not only is it the world's largest democracy, which of course we have a very special relationship as the United States government with India, but because of the importance of pluralism and what we all stand for in terms of respect for each other and understanding the very tender way in which we have to be with each other, how we have to be respectful for each other. The idea that you can celebrate Diwali and Holi and Eid all together is a very special thing. My job is a new job in this administration. It's the first time the American government has appointed a special representative to Muslim communities. And all of you know that the President has made Muslim engagement very important to him in this administration. And he, from the very first moments in his inauguration address, talked to Muslims on the steps of the Capitol and said he wanted to offer a new beginning. In Ankara and in Cairo, he talked about a framework of engagement based on mutual interest and mutual respect. 2 weeks after the Cairo speech, Secretary Clinton asked me to be the special representative so that I could work with our embassies around the world. I have a global mandate. Whether you're a Muslim in a Muslim majority country or you're a Muslim who's a minority in a nation, we are working with our embassies to go deep and go wide and get to know what I call the next generation of Muslims out there, with 1.6 billion Muslims on the planet, most of whom under the age of 30. We as the United States want to do as much as we can to extend an opportunity for partnership and dialogue. My job is terrific and amazing, but the best part of it is that I'm dealing with the grassroots. I don't just meet my counterpart in the foreign ministry in another part of the world, but I meet with ordinary citizens. I meet with students and scholars and activists and bloggers and entrepreneurs and artists and poets and musicians, so that I can hear ideas that are coming from the grassroots and find out ways that the United States government can work with our embassies to be the convener and the facilitator and the intellectual partner with the ideas that we hear on the ground and move them up. For those of you who are bureaucrats, we've turned the triangle upside down on its head. Usually policy starts up here and it goes down. We've actually taken the grassroots ideas and moved them up, and I think that that's historic and important. The President and the Secretary have changed their tone, their tenor, their respect, the way in which they're looking at Muslim engagement, because we want to build long-term partnerships. And with your partnership in this effort, I know we can succeed. I've been really privileged to have a chance to go to 25 countries in the last 10 months. And I've seen a lot, and I've talked to thousands and thousands of Muslims in one way or another, whether online, on Facebook or Twitter, or in forums like this, in which we spend time talking about issues that are of concern to them and ideas that they have. I had my inaugural trip as Special Representative to India in February, and it was a very important trip for me personally because of my background, but the warmth that I received from India was incredible, and the ideas that I heard from young people were incredible. Ideas from both Muslims and non-Muslims about how we can build dialogue better. And I was just actually in Mumbai and Aurangabad, just got back actually last week, and had a magnificent trip because I spent so much time with students. And I had a chance to actually listen to the way in which they're thinking about their role in this effort that the United States is playing. And I will say to this, and I'll end it here, that I believe, from what I've heard from a lot of the people in India, is that they want to use their example of a democratic state, the world's largest democracy, the history that the ambassador talked about so beautifully, and also the traditions of pluralism to help offer a way forward for the rest of the world. And I hope that we can capture that together. So thank you so much for the opportunity to talk to you tonight, but more importantly, thank you so much for this very warm function. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Ms. Pandit, for sharing your most fascinating mandate that you have. Thank you also for reinforcing the